Were there any marches here in Bryan that you recall?
We didn't have any marches per se, but desegregation was an issue when we decided to integrate the bodies from the different campuses. Herman Bell, who was the president of the NAACP, was probably one of the first. He actually was the first black mayor in Bryan. But because of the racial tension, he gave that up in exchange for some other things. And that was one of the first time I realized that in politics, it's a little different from life, because in order to get some things, you have to give up some things. And watching Herman Bell during my early childhood was one of those things that I realized that, you know, you had to give up some things. You know, when they integrated here and decided they was going to have Bryan High School, you know, what colors are you going to use? What mascot are you going to use? All these things are up for grab. So those people who were in a leadership position, like Herman Bell and Pledge Turner and Milton Turner, those guys who were part of the city council and the commissioners and things like that, had to give up some things in order to gain some things. And some of the things that they gained were really of a positive nature, and it made things better. But, you know, like anything else, some of the people were going to focus on some of the things that they gave up. But they had to give up those things in order to get the other things that made the community more cohesive. You know, and that was sort of hard to swallow sometimes, because some of the things they gave up were some of the things you really didn't want to part with. But it was necessary to get things that would be more advantageous in other areas.
Like what?
For instance, the polling places. Most of your polling places up to that point had been in your quote-unquote white neighborhoods. So one of the things that we gained was a polling place at Galilee, the fire station that was located in this area, and at Kemp School. Which means that the people in this area now had a place where they could congregate and vote in their own area instead of driving across town to vote. That was one of the positive things that we gained. At one time, the water rights in Bryan stopped before you got to 28th Street. I don't know if you're in the area, but in 28th Street, it was where you had a lot of blacks, and it was disenfranchised, so to speak, because a lot of the municipal things that we enjoyed in the city, they didn't have. So as a result of some bargaining on the part of Milton Turner and Pledge Turner and Herman Bell, we got those rights extended to those areas. So it was some positive things that came out of it. Instead of using green and white, which was Stephen F. Austin's color, we went to blue and white, you know. And a lot of people say, well, what did you agree on? Well, white was the one common thread, because Stephen F. Austin was green and white, Kemp was maroon and white. So you went to blue and white. So you got white, you kept something from Kemp and from SFA, and you added a color. You know, it seems simple, but at the same time, these were decisions that was really troublesome for some people who were really pondering at that time, because you had people who had a strong allegiance to Kemp, and you had people who had a strong allegiance to Stephen F. Austin. So how do you resolve that?